How's it going, everybody? My name is JustJarrod, but you guys can just call me Jared, and welcome back to another No Man's Sky video. So, what are we talking about today? We are talking about what the community wants out of No Man's Sky Update 1.4. About 2 weeks ago, I did a video asking you guys what you wanted, telling you what I wanted specifically out of 1.4, or just in future updates altogether. You guys responded. I got a bunch of comments, so I picked some of the ones that I thought were interesting. A lot of them were just like repeated ideas, so I just picked ones, and if yours wasn't picked, don't worry, I'm not hating on you. It's just because somebody else had posted it already, so don't worry about that. But I got about 17 different posts, comments here that we're going to talk about. And this is basically a roundup of the ideas that the community has that we want for No Man's Sky Update 1.4. So let's get right into it. First off with Lord Markov. He says, my wish list is 1. Multiple multi-tools, perhaps even dual wielding. Now, I've never heard somebody ask for that, so that's why I definitely was interested in this comment. Plus, it got 28 likes, so it's at the top comment on the video. Congrats on that, Lord Markov. Number 2, landmarks in space, gas giants, heavy nebula, derelict stations, space whale breeding grounds, etc. etc. Whoa, man, space whales breeding grounds. We don't have one space whale yet. But space whales have been kind of like an asked for thing since the beginning, and it's still funny to see people asking for that. Multiple people want space whales, tons of people want space whales. Is it ever going to be a thing? It was joked about by Hello Games a long time ago. Who knows? Who knows? They could do anything at this point. I think they need to do giant sandworms before they do space whales, though. Number 3, cities, city worlds, or ring worlds with more purchase options and multiplayer interaction. Perhaps that sounds like a good idea. At first, I wasn't into cities in No Man's Sky, but I think now that the game has evolved how it has, and people are just exploring more and more, and we want to see new things all the time, cities wouldn't be a bad idea. I think it would be freaking dope. Also, new power armor, mech exocraft, middle ground for having third-person gameplay. Sounds good to me. Power armor, interesting. Another thing to upgrade. I'm down with it. A means for better aquatic movement, whether by tech or exocraft. Hell to the yes. We just need to move faster underwater. I don't care what it is, just do it. Multiple bases, at least 2. Also, definitely fond of that. And number 7, increased tree coverage on tropical planets, less forests that actually look like jungles or forests. 100% agree. I said that basically is something that I wanted for the next update in my video as well. So thank you, Lord Markov, for your comment. Next up, Frankie Chamorro. Instead of shipbuilding, how about ship editing, like the colors and adding symbols? I was definitely thinking about this after I made the video and the remark of shipbuilding. Shipbuilding would kind of take away from the procedural generation of ships anyways, if you're just allowed to customize them and build them how you want. So it kind of makes more sense to have ship editing as far as colors, symbols, patterns, lights, things like that. So I'm definitely all for ship editing instead of ship building specifically. Next up, Ivano Forgion. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but thank you for your comment. Number 1, first-person view in exocrafts as a choice, as well as third-person view for ship flight as a choice, and VR support. All those I'm down for. I don't have a VR system right now, but eventually I will get one, and if No Man's Sky does eventually go VR, I will definitely buy VR, no questions asked. Third-person view for ship flight, I am 100% down with. I would love to see my ship when I'm actually flying, and especially in ship combat. I cannot wait. I'm assuming eventually that will be a thing because it doesn't seem out of the realm of possibilities for sure. Alien cities, not only outposts, 100%, once again, down for that. Wandering aliens, wandering NPCs is something that a lot of people want. I kind of don't understand why it isn't a thing. I kind of at least want them to walk around like pace in their actual places that they are at, instead of just standing, you know, static still the entire time. I don't know. Maybe we'll get it someday. Some further step in the multiplayer implementation with some story content related to it. I could see that eventually being a thing. Right now, the multiplayer is kind of at just the base. You know, how it's the very, very minute beginning of multiplayer is what it is, and they said that when they released it. So I'm assuming later down the line, especially in the next update, we're going to get some upgrades to the multiplayer content. Number 7, ship, exocraft, and freighter look personalization. Yes, yes, and yes. Well, maybe that's more than one update. It could be. It could be. We're just talking about future updates in general. Crash Bandicoot here with a huge comment, but I'm going to read it. Personally, I would like to have cities on planets. Also, I would like more variety in planets, like huge forest planets with taller trees, like you mentioned. I would like improvements in multiplayer, like creating a character. I would also like more interesting creature AI, or even let us have an animal as a pet. Alright, I'm going to stop right there. Creating a character, I would be fine with. I feel like creating a character, like creating how they look and things like that, you know, depending on customization and stuff like that, wouldn't be that much of a problem anymore. And I kind of think eventually they might have some kind of customization, because if they're working towards being able to see other players in multiplayer and there's no ship or no character customization, then are we all just gonna look the same? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with that. That could be something in the next update, because once again, I do believe this update is definitely going to improve on the multiplayer aspect of No Man's Sky. Having an animal as a pet, I see a lot of people say that. That would be amazing. You know, that would make finding creatures a lot more exciting, because you really want to find that dope creature, that really cool, that really cute creature just follow you around all day. I would really, really love to do that and have that as an option. Crash Bandicoot goes on to say weather improvements would be cool, like tornadoes or hurricanes, but that could take time. I believe they can do it eventually. I am really stoked to see how they improve the weather further around. They've been doing it a bit with like flying in your ship, how wind and storms you could see a lot more when you're in your ship, and rain and things like that. I think eventually they can get to the scale of like a hurricane. I would also like less barren planets, but this is definitely improving. More planet variations like ringed planets and gas giants. Random events like asteroids falling on planets or comets would be awesome. That would be dope. I remember them talking about it, or the community talking about asteroids falling on planets and comets being a thing before No Man's Sky released. Whether or not they could do that because of the procedural generation of planets and things like that remains to be seen, but maybe it's a possibility. Who knows? It would be cool. The aliens should move more and interact with you more often. Third-person space combat would be awesome. Yes, it would. Finally, a space log and a multiplayer element where you could captain a ship would be pretty cool. That would be really interesting. That would be really, really cool how they would actually implement that. I think I would be down to play something like that. Thank you, Hello Games, and thank you, JustJarrod. You guys make this community awesome. You make this community awesome. Thank you very much for your comment, and thanks for the compliment. Hello Games is the best. I'm just here talking about their game. Anyways, moving on. Dudu Jerky coming in with, I want to see an alien with 3 tits. You and me both, Dudu Jerky. You and me both. Lord of the Apes 79. I think the next big patch we will see an expansion of the exocrafts, and I really hope this includes a submarine. Lol. As for exotic planets, I think we'll eventually see unique crafting materials on them, and I'd like to see unique fauna there too. That is a really good point. I would love to see definitely unique crafting materials. Here's the issue that I have with the exotic planets, which I might have mentioned before. Apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently if you're in the ancestral galaxy, and if you know what that is, you'll know what I'm talking about, you see exotic planets way more often, so that's why I'm coming across them so much. I think if they do something really cool with exotic planets, they have to make them harder to find. So unique crafting materials on them, I would definitely like to see. As far as unique fauna, that would be really cool, but I feel like since I'm seeing, you know, these planets and moons that are, you know, exotic so much, they just wouldn't become super unique. Just like the planets have kind of not become super unique, because they all generally look the same once you see so many of them, which I have. But we'll see what goes down. I'm definitely down for unique crafting materials for sure. Mighty Moa Man. Better ship variation, like maybe having multiple cruise ships as a middle ground between normal ships and freighters, with a turret or two. That would be cool. I would be into that, and the reason is because, like, I don't even have a freighter at this time. And that's so weird to say. Like, so many people, like, I make YouTube content for No Man's Sky, and I don't have a freighter. I've only bought a freighter when freighters were first a thing, and then I never touched them since. So I would like an in-between, between a freighter and a ship, like a multi-cruise ship, things like that. And maybe be able to walk around in your ship, like a small ship, kind of like how you're able to walk around in your freighter. Think like Mass Effect Andromeda, or Mass Effect, any Mass Effect, where you're able to walk around in your ship. Maybe not that big, but I think that would be pretty sweet. And then maybe be able to like customize the interior and things like that. I think that'd be nice. Better animal sounds, more varied sound effects that don't just sound all high-pitched, making scary animals more imposing. I am definitely all for that. I never realized that that was what the sounds were until I was reading the comments. I had a lot of people say they want better animal sounds because a lot of the animals and the creatures just sound like they're being choked out, which I actually agree with. Now that I think about it, a lot of the animal sounds, do sound the same, or really, really high-pitched at least. So I could see that eventually being a change. Whether or not they're actually paying attention to that and looking into that right now, I do not know. They might be focusing on like other things. I don't know, but we'll see. Better animal pathfinding habits such as migration in packs, nesting in caves or digging holes in tunnels, parent/child animals. Yes, that would be awesome. I would like it so they kind of have like their day-night cycle thing. Well, right now it's a little different than it used to be. Right now it's in daytime and nighttime, you can find different creatures in the day, different at the night, where it used to be you just basically found all the creatures in the day, and then at night there was no creatures out, which is almost how it feels like still. It's still not really apparent that different creatures come out at night, which is apparently how it is since the 1.3 update. I don't really see much of a difference. But I would definitely like to see like animals go to the water when they're thirsty, and things like that. So maybe eventually, I'm saying maybe eventually for a lot of things, because I just think they might be focusing on quote unquote more important things as far as huge content pieces. John O'Neill, I would like for it to be just dedicated to procedural generation diversity. If that was the case, if 1.4 was just procedural generation diversity, I think most of the community would be 100% okay with that. I would be perfectly fine with that, because the entire reason, still to this day, that I play No Man's Sky is just to see new things, and after a year and a half, it is getting to the point where, yes, it's kind of getting repetitive as far as variation goes. You can only see so many things. It's just hard to be surprised, and that was like the coolest thing in No Man's Sky when it came out, to be surprised. You had no idea what you were going to see, no idea, and that's why when the launch and the months, almost the entire year after No Man's Sky released, it was just so cool to turn on the game, because you never knew what you were going to come across, where now you kind of have like an 80% idea what you're going to come across. So I would definitely be for just a procedural generation diversity update. Bork, underwater bases would be awesome, and please fix the glitching with cube room player based marketplace. Okay, underwater bases would be cool. Just any upgrade to the underwater system at all would be great. Movement underwater, variation underwater, being able to do things underwater, an alien race underwater, underwater bases, whatever it may be. Make it like Subnautica. I don't care. Something underwater. Giant creatures. Just the underwater needs to be more exciting all around, no matter what they do with it. Codemon 13, give us more variation for everything. Oh yeah, and ship wear and tear. I want to see paint chipping and rust. That was supposed to be in the game, if you do remember Codemon 13. I'm sure you do. You've been around for a bit. The paint chipping, the wear and tear on ships was supposed to be a thing at launch. It was in the trailers a long time ago. There was one when IGN was doing its second IGN First of No Man's Sky. There was a trailer where they showed off the paint chipping and the wear and tear. That is still not in the game. I would, it's just another small, detail that I think should be there, and I think shouldn't be that hard to actually implement, because it's not like a huge gameplay element. It's just some kind of thing that happens over time. So I'm assuming eventually they'll get to that, definitely, because it's not, like I said, a huge or humongous kind of new idea. Damon is yo. What's up? Jungle planets being jungles instead of giant golf courses. You are 100% correct, sir. Or jungle planets being jungles instead of jungle planets with no trees. I don't know how many times I've come across a planet, landed, got out, it tells me it's a jungle planet, but yet there's no trees at all. I want you to show me a jungle in real life with no trees. Anyway, I'm just saying. It's not that huge of a deal. It's just funny, honestly, at this point. Finding a jungle planet with no trees or a jungle planet with like barely any trees. But I'm definitely, for the jungles actually being jungles. So we'll have to see what they do with that. I'm sure that must be a bug or something that, they eventually have to fix. Right alongside with just more trees and larger trees. Patrick Fluck, not sure. Better inventory management. Some sort of a conveyor system to move resources around, designated containers, etc. I don't enjoy micromanaging all those stacks. Some sort of base power supply system, having to run around manually refilling grow plots is maddening to me. Them finally removing how you have to hold down buttons to select things. I hate that so much. They did fix that. An option to rescale the UI so we don't have to scroll through huge text blocks for no reason on PC, and the Galaxy map is still terrible to navigate and could use improvements. Galaxy map is a bit hectic to mess around with, I do agree with that. Better inventory management, they are working hard. A lot of the updates have been for inventory management in some way or shape or form. A conveyor system would be freaking amazing. I am down for a conveyor system. That would make a lot more diversity to like how bases look and how people make their bases. Being able to utilize conveyors to move stacks to certain storage containers, things like that. Really cool idea. I would definitely be into something like that and actually look into. If that was the case, I would look into farming more and, actually trying to make money from my base more. Right now, I just make a base because it looks cool. I don't really use it for anything important. So that would definitely give me a reason, or maybe, force me a little bit into trying to farm and, make money through my base if there was conveyors to move things to other things, so I didn't have to sit there all day going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, because that's just not super enjoyable to me, just kind of like how you said. Career Bond. For 1.4, I'd like to see people stop speculating on what might be in future updates. What's the point? Have we learned nothing from the hype disaster of launch? Well, I'll tell you what. If I didn't make these videos, or other people didn't make these videos, Hello Games wouldn't have a huge idea of what people want in the game. So, there you go. I'll tell you what, right now, these videos are probably never going to stop. So enjoy them while they're here. Because they're going to be here. Yep. Anyways, thanks for the comment. Christian Wallen. Here's what I'm hoping for, eventually. Planet rotation. 100% agree. Planet's heat based on distance to sun. Interesting. The closer you get to the center, the more alien things become. That was supposed to be in the game. That was supposed to be a thing at launch. Hopefully that becomes a reality, because I'm definitely down for something like that, because it kind of pushes people slowly to the center if they want to see new things. Whereas right now you can see everything, huge that there is to see, just, sitting around the outside, the outskirts of the, galaxy. You don't have to go anywhere, really. Number 4, smarter fauna AI, because right now they're dumb as shit. Well, I'm definitely for the smarter AI. I definitely think they could use an upgrade to the AI system. Because I know they do like constantly run into walls, or like stuck in a hole, or like run in circles. Or yeah, I get what you're saying. Rather than full on-chip customization, okay, yeah, so that's changing the decals, the paint, minor cosmetics. Definitely for that. We already talked about that. We already touched on that. More interesting planet generation. Now what I mean by this is a lot of things. Taller mountains, more biomes, taller trees, thicker forests, better underwater in general. I agree with all of that. There are tall mountains in the game. A lot of people, this has been a thing that's came up in, multiple conversations, is people are like, where are the tall mountains? They are in the game. There are huge mountains in the game. They are a bit hard to find, but I could see them maybe making them more common. Systems with more than 6 planets, moons, or maybe a moon only counts for half a planet, so you could get systems that have, say, 5 planets and 2 moons. You just want more moons. And the possibility for planets with more than 2 moons. So like a planet with 5 moons. That would be freaking insanely cool. That would be great for pictures, though. Screenshots. If you had a planet with 5 moons, I really think that should be a possibility. Because each moon or planet counts as one planet. and you can only have 6 total. So why not have a planet with 5 moons? You know, I feel like that should be a possibility. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but that's pretty much it. And the thing is, 1 through 4 were teased way back before launch, so I don't think it's impossible. Edit, also, third person would be extremely useful, especially in your ship. Agree with that. And yeah, 1 through 4 were definitely, you know, teased or talked about or were supposed to be in the game. So we'll see what happens there. Clay War, more structures like temples, castles, Stonehenge-type formations, light towers, and of course, more creature or flora variation. I am definitely for the, like, you know how monoliths, ruins, you know, things like that, they're always the same. We don't have any difference since launch. They need to have, like, an update, like a structure update. Why don't they call it that? The structure update, where we get the buildings from the concept art, where we get the monoliths and things like that from the concept art, where we get, you know, just things that are different as far as structures. Temples, castles, like he said, Stonehenge-type formations, towers. Awesome stuff. I'm definitely into structures and like mysterious locations in video games, and that would be really cool. They have enough mystery going for No Man's Sky with monoliths and the Atlas and things like that. They could do crazy structures, I think, without anybody, you know, batting an eyelid. I think, you know, the I don't know, the overall scale of what they could do is huge. They could do, you know, like cities. If cities were to come into No Man's Sky, they could make them mysterious or abandoned. They could make them like huge, you know, castles, things like that. They could do whatever. And I think all of it would be, you know, relatively fine, and the community would kind of accept it at this point. No Man's Marv, how are you doing, man? I would quite like a robot companion that you could leave on a planet and it'll collect resources for you and be upgraded, etc. Also, I'd like cross-galaxy travel so I can meet players in Euclid and others. Yes. So if you do not know, you do now. If you go to another galaxy, you cannot, you know, cross galaxy to galaxy. If you want to play multiplayer with somebody, you're kind of screwed. If you're in the ancestral galaxy and somebody else, you know, is still in the Euclid and you want to play multiplayer with them, you're kind of out of luck because it just doesn't work like that. Eventually, I think they might have cross-galaxy travel, but I think they'll have to explain it with some lore or something like that, in-game story, maybe. A robot companion would be awesome. I'm thinking that's kind of like a pet, so either have a pet or a robot companion or both following you around. That'd be sweet. Maybe like a robot dog. I don't know. That'd be cool. Maybe like a little Roomba that kind of just like slides around on the ground and follows you. You could just leave it and come back. Leave it on your home planet or whatever, come back, and it's got a bunch of resources for you. It's got like random items that it's come across. That'd be pretty funny. And then, you know, also have it upgraded and stuff like that. I'm down. Maybe have it upgraded so it could like shoot sentinels and collect the resources from them. You know, there's so many ways that, you know, Hello Games can improve No Man's Sky. It's kind of, you know, just insane. We could talk about, you know, things for hours and hours, and this video could be super long, and we'd never talk about everything that could be a possibility. So definitely awesome, really good comment, thank you. And then rounding out the YouTube comments for what everybody wants to see in No Man's Sky 1.4, we have Eric Cafe coming in with Space Whales, damn it. Yes. Everybody wants to see the space whales. Maybe eventually, once again. I kind of doubt it at this point, but who knows? Anyways, guys, that does it for this video. That does it for what everybody wants to see in No Man's Sky Update 1.4. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up for me. If I missed out on something, some topic, some idea that you have, let me know down in the comments. We'll chat about it. We'll see what's going on with that. If you enjoyed it, like I said, give it a like, subscribe for more No Man's Sky news, gameplay, and coverage all the time. My name has been JustJarrod. Until next time, I hope you guys have a fantastically awesome day. Peace out.